We seem to be confronted in our time with varied views of Jesus. That's nothing new, of course. We have a Trinitarian Jesus, the God the Son, who came to earth, a strangely unbiblical phrase, by the way. Never says that Jesus came to earth. No, he began in the womb of his mother, as is patently clear from the accounts, the detailed accounts in Luke, as a doctor and an observer, witness of at least talking to the witnesses in early Christian times. And Matthew's account even clearer, that the one begotten, to Yenithen, I'm using the modern Greek pronunciation here, the one begotten in her, fathered in her, coming into existence in her, that's what it says, in her, coming into existence in her womb, will be called the Son of God, Luke 1:35. That really should be decisive. If we take Scripture seriously and begin with Matthew and Luke, here we have two brilliantly clear witnesses to the origin of Jesus, the Genesis, the G-E-N with one N, one ni there, one letter N there in the Matthew account in Matthew 1:18. And then more particularly in verse 20 of the first chapter of Matthew, Jesus is said to be the Son of God, being begotten, having been begotten, to Yenithen, the aorist of the verb yanao, to bring into existence. I really don't think it could be clearer than that. I'm really puzzled then by some of our former Jehovah's Witness friends and others who seem to insist that Jesus was Michael the archangel. They agree he's not co-equal God the Son, but he's an angel. Now that idea was confronted head-on in the first chapter of Hebrews. Twice it is said there. The question is asked rhetorically, to which of the angels did God ever say at any time, "You're my son, I've begotten you"? The answer is to none. That is meant to exclude to ordinary readers at any level the absolute impossibility of Jesus being an angel. The whole point is missed there. In fact, the whole point of Scripture is missed. The whole point of Scripture is that the second Adam models the right way for man to be in relation to God. To make him an angel changes the game and the story radically and totally. Think about what it is to pre-exist yourself. What does that mean? Now, I understand a pre-existing medical condition. You go to the doctor and you have the disease already. That's a pre-existing condition. The disease pre-existed your arrival in the doctor's office. That's perfectly plain. However, think about pre-existing yourself. Who pre-exists who at that point? If you're brought into existence as the Son of God in the womb of Mary, how can you pre-exist yourself? You see, very sneakily and cleverly, we're talking about two persons here. You have a pre-human Jesus in the minds of Jehovah's Witnesses, a pre-human person. And then you have another person being brought into existence in the womb. That makes two persons, of course. Or are we saying that the angel Michael died as a pre-human person before being recreated as a new person coming into existence? May I suggest how perfectly, horribly complex this is? Here's a 16-year-old, 14-year-old Virgin Mary being encountered by the angel. None of this would make the slightest sense to her any more than it does to you, if you'll think about it. So wake up in the morning meditating on what it means to pre-exist yourself. What pre-exists what? Who pre-exists who? It's a nightmare. Much simpler is the truth, and that is that Jesus began to exist as Son of God, Messiah, in the womb of his mother. He's really a descendant of David. Can a descendant of David be older than David? What sort of extraordinary convolutions are we entering here? Forget all that. It's just simply impossible, nonsensical. I suggest that the phrase pre-human existence is a nonsense phrase. It doesn't carry any recognizable meaning. So, we have then the fact that a pre-human person cannot be human. You cannot be pre-human and human. That doesn't work. Either you give up your pre-humanity, in which case, what's the connection between that person and the one that's born later? Nothing that one can see. Or you simply admit that the son of David, as in Judaism, by the way, they had this perfectly clear. The descendant of David was the descendant of David, obviously not older than David. Now, of course, that Messiah, the name of the Messiah, the plan for the Messiah pre-exists in God's mind. We know that. Everybody knows about that. But not the Messiah, the human Messiah himself, did not pre-exist at the time of Genesis. That is so difficult and so complicated And I'm sorry that people have been so troubled by it. Let's gain unity here in believing in the human Son of Mary, Son of David, Son of God. Just as Adam was Son of God by direct creation, so the Son of God, Jesus, by direct creation, by direct intervention, by biological miracle worked in Mary. So Jesus is the Son of God, the Messiah, truly a human being, albeit a sinless one, who starts his life without the benefit of a human father, and is related to God then miraculously, and related to David through his connection through Mary, who was, of course, of the family of David.